To Infinity and something beyond. What?
To Infinity Beyond. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Infinity. Come on.
Right.
The program, Chris.
Okay, I get it.
Get with the program.
I get it. It's a good title. Well done.
Thank you.
I approve.
All right, let's crack on.
Okay.
So, hi everyone, and welcome to the Polygon Forest. I am Ubisoft concept artist Vin Hill, and I am joined, as ever, by indie developer Mr. Christopher Jarvis.
Hello.
Let's do this. So, this week we've got a few things to sort of chip through on the agenda. Not all positive, not all completely negative.
Or
I don't think
any positive. It's going to be a
we'll see.
piling on day, I think.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and try and be a little bit more.
No, you can't, Vin, because especially the especially
spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers. But first, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff of the day, which we're going to be talking about Switch OLED, we're going to be talking about some Assassin's Creed stuff, as well as a couple of things that popped up in and around the Sony State of Play. There's a couple of other rumors flying around as well, which we're going to sort of dig into. But first, Chris, what have you been playing this week, sir?
I have been playing nothing. I went on the PlayStation and I went through the store and I figured out that I'm going to be playing one of your favorite games, either Shadow Colossus or Eco, or well, I know Eco's your favorite game, but I know you like the other ones, the Last Guardian and right. The Last Guardian and Shadow Colossus, 30 quid on PlayStation Store. That's a lot of money for that age of game, I would say.
Yeah, when did a
digital
remake
copy?
Yeah, the remake of Shadow Colossus came out in 2018, I think it was. Yeah, it was 2018.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I played, was it, what did I finish playing?
Uncharted 4?
Uncharted 4. And that was.
Did you actually finish this?
I finished it, and that was 15 quid.
Right.
So, you know. And
there'll be a sale. There'll always be a sale.
I love that sale. And so I went, okay, I'll play Eco because that's only, what, 8 quid a month. PS Now.
That's on, PlayStation Now.
And I went to download it, and I was ready to do my preemptive, I've got a bit of an hour's free. I'll get onto the PlayStation. I'll start downloading. I'll keep the PlayStation on because it's terrible at downloading. I hate it for that. Xbox was way better, way quicker.
Yeah, there's no downloading.
Just saying. And then it was like, oh yeah, you can stream it now. And I was like, what's going on? And it's a streaming only game. So I was like, right, okay, well, I've done this preemptive stuff for nothing, so I'll have to play it when I get a free minute. But I've been I've been doing I've been doing a lot of work on my indie game at the minute. So
right, yeah, I did see that you were doing some updates on that. How is development going on that in general? Like, you feeling good about it now, or are you still got some major things to work through, or are you smooth sailing from this point?
I've done a video for the first time ever on my YouTube channel. I say first time ever, first time in like months, with an update.
Right.
And basically I redid like 20 of my levels, all of my levels that I had pretty much. I've just redid them. So I come up with this new way of, this new approach. So you can check out the video if you want. We might do a link later on to it if you like.
Yeah, put that in the description.
I didn't shout out the podcast though on that video, which is I kind of thought about
rude.
Afterwards when I was uploading it. I was like, I didn't do a shout out to the podcast. But yeah, it's been a good productivity week. Must let you know, Vin, I've had a little beep, and I've got to change the battery soon.
Oh no!
So I don't know how you want to do this because I know we're live. I apologize. But maybe
how long does it take?
Maybe we'll get to a point where I ask you a question and then I'll quickly change the battery. And this is actually going to be a really good example to the viewers about how quick and easy it actually is to change the battery, because it is super quick and easy.
Right.
And I can't even see the box. I have to do this before I can see it. And I can even change it without looking at it.
We're not even sponsored either.
No. So this is
we're advertising like how awesome these headphones are.
Arctis Pro something or other.
We're definitely not sponsored. We don't even know the name of the friggin' things.
Steel Series Arctis Pro wireless headsets. Wi-Fi.
So good.
Yeah. Should we give it a go? Should I show you? Do you want to time me or something?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Ready?
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he's still got them on as well. 7, 8, 9. This is really not that impressive. Can you hear me? Are you on?
I can hear you through the other speaker because that's why I bought these headsets. But now you're in the headset, I think.
Right.
There we go.
Cool.
And I plug this back in and it'll start charging.
That is pretty cool that it's got like a detachable thing where you can change the battery on the fly.
It's magnetic. Cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And there we go, we're charging.
Sweet.
So can you imagine that if you're gaming?
I can.
I mean, you obviously plug in, so it's different. But
yeah, I mean, I can remember from memory anyway. I used to play a lot of Battlefield with my headset on before I met my lovely wife. But yeah, that would have come in handy. Yeah. Definitely.
So that is a good thing. I do like it for that. It was kind of like it made me make the jump to wireless.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does beep and chirp at me every now and again. I have no idea why, which is really annoying when getting into a track and you're like, I didn't remember that little beep before.
Yeah, I mean, these are wireless as well. Like,
you can take it out.
I just used the wire. I don't know, like the noise cancellation on these are amazing and they're great. And when I do like occasionally pull these out and actually like use it properly, it's great. But I've just never, I don't know. I should probably utilize them a bit more. Like people are probably shouting like, "Oh my god, it's the worst thing ever."
No, I think it is actually slightly higher definition when you have the it plugged in. The signal is a higher amount.
I think mine's actually the opposite. So when mine's not plugged in, the sound quality, like the bass, is a little bit better. Other than that, it doesn't really make that much of a difference because I'm just working all day, so I've just constantly got them plugged in. So I'm just working, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's all good.
But what have you been playing, Vin?
What have I been playing? I've not been playing Eco. That's for sure.
Have you been playing Mass Effect? How are you getting on with that?
No, I need to get to Mass Effect 2. Like I finished the first Mass Effect, and then I got distracted by another game, and I'm just not going back to it.
You're not going back to it. So you've only got one. 2 is.
I'll get back to it soon.
2's the best.
People keep telling that to me, but I'm just not. Yeah, it hasn't coached me over yet. I will get to it though. I promise.
Okay.
But yeah, this week I've been playing. I pulled out my Switch for the first time in a long time, and I've been trying to get through a game called The World Ends With You, which you wouldn't have played because it is not only a JRPG, but it's also a Square Enix game, which apparently you're completely opposed to. And
I'm anti-Square Enix, yeah.
You're anti-Square Enix for whatever reason, just out of sheer, like, good or bad luck, depending on how you look at it.
It's just from ignorance, really, I think.
Pure ignorance. But yeah, I'm playing through The World Ends With You again. Like, I did play it on the 3DS, and I bought it for the Switch, and the Switch controls are absolutely god-awful. Like, they're just really bad. And it's hard to explain if you've never played The World Ends With You, but the original game on the 3DS everything was done with the touch stylus. And then they converted it over to the iPad, and then the iPad version was converted over for the Switch version, which is all done with your finger instead of controls plus the stylus on the 3DS. And just the combination doesn't really completely work. And I don't think they could have done anything better, really. It's just the confinement of the controls and everything that they're sort of stuck with using. So I get it, like why it's like that, but it's passable. Like I am trying to chip through it again because the sequel is due out, I think, next month or the month after. I'm not sure. Like it's pretty close. Which is called Neo: The World Ends With You, which just means New World Ends With You, which is like, yes, both terrible names. Completely agree, but great games. That's the thing. So I'm looking forward to the sequel. Looks terrible, like in terms of art direction and how it actually looks, but I'm hoping.
You're selling it to me. I want to play it really so bad now.
Yeah, you really want to pick this game up for your first Square Enix game, I'm sure. But yeah, it's as great as always, like story wise. So I'm still enjoying it, but it's a while off. But the way the sort of game is everything. It's an action sort of RPG. So instead of like waiting in time battles where everyone's taking it in turns, like everyone's fighting all at once, but everything is done through touch controls, which at different gestures and actions does a different ability. And the actual world itself, it's set in Tokyo, and it's like modern Tokyo, and it's all based on the fashion district and stuff, which is really weird. It's in Shibuya, which is like the fashion capital of the world, pretty much even. And the way that your character works is that if you've got clothes that are in style at that time or whatever, it boosts all your stats, and then clothes that are out of style like actually drop all your stats. So it's like buff and debuff depending on what you're wearing and stuff. Really interesting like mechanics at the time, like when the game
self-esteem as a mechanic.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the best way to look at it, I guess. But yeah, really, really interesting stuff. But I'm having fun with it. I'm glad that I've gotten back around to it finally. I'm kind of getting used to the touch controls now, so it's getting a bit more manageable. When you first pick it up, it is a bit of a head scratcher. Like, why would anyone play it like this? But
and are you playing that on the actual Switch, or are you plugging it into TV?
This is the big sort of thing about The World Ends With You. When it came out on the Switch, it came out with obviously touch controls on the handheld mode, which is the pretty much the only way to play it, if I'm being honest. Because the other way to play it is because everything is touch controls. The only way you convert that to a controller is if you use motion controls, which is like the old sort of Wii style, like swinging your thing around. But it's not accurate, it's not perfect, and it's cumbersome. It's not enjoyable. So you pretty much can't play it on a television, if I'm being completely honest about it.
Okay.
And there was a lot of complaints about that when the game came out, because that's what everyone was excited for, to see if they could potentially translate that into a controller setup. They just weren't able to really achieve that at all. And I don't really blame them, because they would have had to go in and sort of hard code all that sort of stuff in, but they just weren't able to pull it off. So,
and they knew people were going to buy it regardless, so they didn't need to spend all that money.
There's that as well. I also waited for a sale as well, because Square Enix are notorious, just like Nintendo in that respect. In Japan, they re-release games a lot and they port games over, and then they'll charge full price. But the weird thing about The World Ends With You, when that first came out, I think it was like £30. It would have been in the UK, so it would have been about 50, I guess. I think it was like 50 in the US at the time when it came out on the 3DS. But then the Switch version was full price, so that was a $60 game. So it was actually more expensive than the original version of the game, which is just mind blowing if you think about it. Like, the more that you think about it, the harder it hurts.
And so I'm here playing like £15 games and going, 30 quid for a game. That's quite a lot, isn't it?
Too much. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. But there was a lot of pushback when The World Ends With You came out on the Switch. But like, talking about the game itself, like, it's not a bad game. Like, if you ever do get a Switch, like, I would recommend it. Like, it's a decent little game.
I will be getting a Switch, but I won't be getting the Switch OLED.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we should probably move off into our main topics today. So, Chris, there has been some news, as you just alluded to, that Nintendo finally announced the Switch Pro. Yay! Everyone's excited. And everyone, like, it's a great fanfare. Like, it was the perfect sort of specs. Like, they saw it and like, yeah, finally 4K.
Finally 4K. No.
All that.
No.
Happened.
No.
Bit of a weird week last week. Or this week, I should say. Switch OLED.
What's your initial thought when you saw the news?
I honestly was... It sort of put the cap on this year and all of the hype and excitement which I had around E3. Like, this was the bookend to it. It's just like everything that I was expecting. Like, just this thing. I just don't understand who this thing is for. I just cannot fathom it. Like, I'm sat here looking at it, thinking, who is going to buy this apart from like die-hard like Nintendo fans who will buy it, and it will sell out. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not going to sell. I just don't know who it's really for. I just cannot understand who would buy this, like, logically.
There's people that defend it, going, "Hey guys, it's mid-cycle still. Of course they're just going to do incremental update. What do you expect? A whole new console mid-cycle? Are you crazy?" And it's like,
what, you mean like everyone else? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, like, it's not mid-cycle. Like, it's only mid-cycle because they tell you it's mid-cycle. Right. I mean, yeah, fair enough, they're in charge of the cycle, but it's just not what anyone wants. Like, yes.
Yeah, nobody needs this. Like, the only people that are going to pick up a Switch OLED, and rightfully so, are people that have never bought a Switch yet. Yeah. So people like yourself, like, if you're like going into the shop and you're like, okay, which Switch am I going to buy? Yeah. Am I going to buy the base Switch, the Switch Lite, which is handheld only, or am I going to buy the Switch OLED? Like, you're probably going to be like, I'll just pay the extra $50 from the base model and get the OLED, I guess, because it's got a nicer screen, like, it's a little bit bigger, you know, why not? It's got a bit more internal memory. That's cool. But I've had a Switch for years, and I've zero reason to pick this thing up.
Yeah. Well,
For-
the Smash Brothers are gonna like it because it's got the LAN port.
Right.
So
That's
that's
fair.
going to be great for people with crappy Wi-Fi. So that's really
Sure,
good.
but that's a feature that should have
That's
been
so
in a
niche,
console
though.
2 generations ago.
That should have
So
been
the
on
fact that-
launch. Should have been on launch. If you can
Yeah.
plug it into a TV, it should have had a LAN port. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So it's
Yep.
just fixing problems. It's not good. It's not good.
No, it's really
this
not.
late in the day.
The thing that really sort of grinds me about this thing is that if you like the second you plug in the Switch OLED into your dock and it comes up on the TV, the difference between a Switch OLED and a Switch base or
Is zero. Yeah.
there's no difference. And
Zero.
I'm not being hyperbolic. I literally mean there is no difference.
Yeah.
It's the same chipset.
Yeah.
It's going to be 720p
The software,
on this one.
they've even said the software is going to be the same.
Everything is the same,
Hmm.
which I respect, like to a certain extent, like they're keeping things consistent. I knew that there's certain things that they couldn't change, like the Joy-Con controllers, because they have to fit on both of the OLED version and the new one. So
Sure.
I knew that the form factor would be the same.
Yeah.
I knew that the screen was going to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But the fact that there isn't a new chipset in this to sort of push DLSS or the the upscaling technology, which NVIDIA has patented and they've already got in their in their NVIDIA Shield lineup, which is literally the same chipset as the Switch. They've already got all that in place, but they're not utilizing that in the Switch. Like
Yeah,
whatsoever.
but they can do that next year on the Switch Pro Plus.
Sure, they will. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it's kind of like who is. And if that was the case, they should have just been like, yeah, there's no new Switch model this year. We're going to wait until next year, when we got a bit more time. Like they wouldn't announce this, but they just wouldn't announce anything.
Yeah.
The fact that they're releasing this thing, I'm just looking at it like, who is this even for? Like, who's buying this?
This is for a younger person who really appreciates visual quality, that is going to be traveling on a bus a lot or traveling to college or university a lot. And so wants to game on the move. So isn't at home in the living room gaming. Like they're out and about gaming. And OLED is great. I love OLED. My iPhone is OLED. I bought it because it's OLED. I went with the was it XS because it's OLED. And even though there was better ones out there, I didn't want the better ones because they were LED screens. I wanted the OLED screen. You get blacker blacks, you get more vivid colors. So it is great. But for me, I've got a 4K TV that's high definition and it does its own upscaling.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy an old Switch and I'm going to plug it in and I'm going to let the TV do the grunt work that the Switch can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to buy a Switch OLED because I'm never going to... I travel to work in my car. I work. I don't game on my lunch. I come home, I've got my massive TV, I'm the only person in the living room. So for me, it's a no. Big fat no.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of that point where, like the main... Because this is the thing, like the Switch market is sort of split up into two camps, and always has been, from the word go, which is people that predominantly play games in handheld mode, and then there's people that predominantly play games in the TV mode.
Yeah.
And last year they released I think it was last year or the year before, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't actually remember when it was released. But the Switch Lite came out, which is for handheld gamers only because you can't dock it.
Yeah.
You can't take the controllers off. It's like, hey, this is for you, handheld gamers. It's $100 cheaper. It's smaller. It's nicer. Comes in all these cool colors. This is for you.
Perfect.
Cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. And now they've got the Switch OLED. It's kind of like, hey, also handheld gamers, we've got something that isn't really that much different apart from the screen.
The screen's slightly bigger. It's OLED. Battery's the
slightly
same.
Slightly bigger. Like I made the mistake of thinking that it was 2 inches bigger. I was wrong. It was 0.8 inches. Like that is... it's not even worth writing home about. I mean, like, who is this thing for? Like, it just blows my mind, man. The more I look at this thing, I'm just like, what the hell are they thinking? Like, I just do not understand. Like, I cannot actually get my head around what they were thinking for this thing.
I think a lot of people don't know this exists, that are getting into gaming, or it's the mums. They want to buy a handheld console for their kid, and they know that there's a new one out. And all they presume is that it's better because it's the new one.
That's a fair assumption.
There'll be loads of mums and dads buying the best one for their kid. That's the new one. Oh, it must be better. It's the new one. It's the latest one that's out. It's got to be better.
Yeah, I mean, this is really for, I don't know, like
uneducated people.
Yeah, no, you're right. People that are misinformed about the games industry that are buying new hardware for their loved ones. Like this is who this is for. Like more than anyone, because I just don't like if you're a handheld Switch owner. Or a handheld gamer in general, and you're like, okay, I've got a base Switch, like I want to buy a new handheld Switch that's only handheld. It's like, okay, am I either going to buy the Switch Lite, which is 100? I think it's like 100 less than the normal base
than
Switch.
The regular Switch, and the Switch OLED is $50 more.
$50 more.
So it's $150 more.
So like you're looking at that range. Like if you're a gamer and you're thinking, okay, am I going to buy a Switch that's $150 more just for a slightly better screen? Which, after a week of using either, you're going to get used to it anyway.
Yeah.
If not a day. So is it really worth the extra money? And it's like, yeah, for some fans, they're going to double dip and buy it anyway because they've all got 3 Switches in their house, different colors.
They've got everyone and they can't not have the newest one. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I see that stuff all the time. That's why it always annoys me when people are saying, Nintendo sales at X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, they're not really, because they're not unique users. You have to really look at the software sales to actually figure out like how many unique gamers they've got, because people will buy. Like I've known Nintendo fans in the past that have literally bought 5 different 3DS versions.
Yeah.
And Nintendo think that's 5 different people, and it's not.
Yeah. So. Or there'll be like a couple. I know a couple, Beardo Benjo. Shout out. He has a few, and I think he used to give like his old ones to his missus. So there's like a household with a few.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I think there's more than 2 consoles in that household, but there's only 2 people playing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've never really understood it, but this Switch OLED news, man, it blows my mind. What actually blew my mind.
I wasn't happy when they did the Nintendo on E3, the Nintendo video at E3, where they said, we're going to just talk about our games. It's like, okay, fine. You've got a lot to say. Obviously, the Switch Pro is going to be a lot to get through. There's going to be a lot of changes. The amount that they were talking about the video games and doubling up in terms of words that were saying the same thing about the video games. They could have said, we've got a new Switch. It's got an OLED screen. It's slightly bigger. The battery's the same. It's got a LAN port. It's going to be 50 quid. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
They could have said that real quick and we would have gone, that's a shame. But they left it and announced it now. Like, why the wait between then and now? Like, what the hell? Yeah. No, you should have just fit it in and squashed our expectations at the time. And we wouldn't have been waiting in anticipation for a 4K Switch that doesn't exist.
It's really interesting to see the all of the outlets trying to figure out
or upscaling or do a bit of software to make it quicker or just
they could have done anything. Absolutely anything.
There's a lot of opportunity.
The thing which I would have put money on this, like the fact that there isn't upscaling in this is just bananas to me, just purely because it's on the Tegra X1 chipset. They're capable of doing it on the NVIDIA Shield. Like there's upscaling to 4K on that, but they're just not doing it on the Switch. And
that's
I don't
crazy.
know why. I just don't understand why that's not a thing. Like why aren't you figuring out a way to put this stuff in? Like it's right there, like it's hanging fruit. Like you can do it, and NVIDIA will work with you on this because they want to push this technology as well.
They want to say, look how great we are. They're in a competition with other hardware developers that
especially
that
Sony and Microsoft that are like trying to like use AMD chips, which they are, and they're trying to show like, hey, you guys are AMD over there on Sony and on Xbox as well. Sorry, we're sticking with NVIDIA, and we're going to do all this cool stuff that you can't do yet. And, like it's right there. Like
NVIDIA
crazy.
is just going, no, Nintendo, why didn't you ask us? Like you should have said.
Bananas. I mean, it will come. Like it has to come eventually. Like,
but it'll be another 50 quid later down the line.
Yeah, I mean, but the Switch is so outdated at this point.
Yeah.
I mean that in terms of like I'm using it right now. I'm playing the World End with you. Whenever I go into the store, it chugs and it lags, and it's just not an enjoyable system anymore. Like it's so overbearing. Like the cache just cannot hold all the memory for the game, like for the games properly anymore. It's just not an enjoyable experience. And they had the means to fix this, and they just chose not to, which is nuts.
I will be getting one because Harrison's getting on, my boy. He's 5 now, so he's getting into games. Usually
Getting
just
a Switch
playing.
Lite.
So, well, I'm not going to get him a Switch Lite. I'm going to get a Switch so that I can play Breath of the Wild, and then we'll both be able to use the Joy-Cons on the main TV and play like the multiplayer games.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
It looks rough around the edges, though. I'll give you that. But I mean, you'll still enjoy it. Like the Switch has got great games. This is the most frustrating thing in the world. It's got good games. It's just the means to play them are in this archaic old sort of system. Like, hey, we've got a LAN port. It's like, yeah, welcome to the 20th century, Nintendo. You know, like, what the hell are you thinking?
The Xbox One, like the original Xbox had a LAN port, like however many years ago when online gaming was invented, like for a console.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like,
and they didn't even go on about it. Like, they didn't even like freaking go on about it. Like, hey, we got a LAN port, you know?
Yeah. And they sold it as like, oh, the Switch OLED, like the new Switch upgrade. It's like, yeah, the Nintendo Vita had this like 15 years ago. Like, who is this for? Like, I just don't understand. I will never get my head around Nintendo. I just can't. Like, I'm glad that if people are watching this and they're excited about the Switch OLED, I am happy for you. Please leave a comment and let me know why.
However you're living life, let us know, because I want a slice of that optimism, man.
Whatever drugs you're taking, let us know which ones they are so we can be as happy as you are. Jesus Christ, I just cannot see the silver lining on this. I've tried and I've looked at it and like, okay, there's a load of articles out there saying, oh, the Switch community are divided, and this is one side and this is the other. This is why people are defending it.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like the other side, they're actually defending it and saying, yeah, this is a good thing. They're not actually saying it's a good thing. They're just defending it. That's it. Like
as a console, as a platform.
They're defending it as to say, like you were saying before, this is the mid-cycle. This is part of the course and all this sort of stuff. Remove all of that and give me a good reason why anyone should trade in their Switch to buy this thing.
Yeah.
Just any reason. I'd love
Smash Brothers, like Super Smash Bros. And online competitive gaming that's a slither though of the market, isn't it?
Yeah,
like people that are playing competitively online with their mates.
Yeah, on a Switch it's pretty. Yeah, that's a pretty thin.
It's a pretty thin wedge.
Yeah,
but I've read articles as well, and I'm not happy because this is when the news people, they should go whole hog. They should say what I think that they think. Well, no, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of the press are saying what. They're not being bought out by Nintendo.
Are you actually saying that the press are biased towards Nintendo?
No.
Oh, come on.
I mean, fair enough if they're trying to quell some anger amongst angry teenagers and 30-somethings like myself. Fair enough to try and quell some anger. That's noble. Fine. But, yeah, it's not defendable. I would put the article in like, let's just get a grip and let's just face what is actually the case with Nintendo. Like, not like, don't go overboard, don't go crazy, don't start being an idiot and saying things that you shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't condone anyone for like just hating on Nintendo just for the sake of hating on them. But like they should get the fair slice of criticism that everyone else gets.
Yeah, they deserve a lot of professional criticism from consumers that want a better and expect a better product, which we know that they can deliver because of the technology, because of what year it is, you know.
Right. Yeah, what decade it is, not what year it is. Because
we're living in the present, we expect a certain standard of technology which they can afford.
Yeah, it's just it. I mean, I've forever had this problem with the games industry sort of media outlets of just constantly, and I mean constantly, consistently giving Nintendo free passes on stuff, which they absolutely ridicule other companies for. Like third parties get absolutely trashed, like between EA and Ubisoft and like Bethesda up until they were acquired by Microsoft. until then, like the big sort of third party publishers were constantly getting trashed, constantly for the same things, for the same practices that Nintendo does. But Nintendo just always like were never included in certain conversations or anything like that. Like a few years ago, like to sort of bring this into the next story that we're going to go into, there was a lot of discussion about Ubisoft downgrades and stuff like that, and we were absolutely pulled through the hedges on that. Like just constantly like getting compared, saying, "Oh, look at how they announced it versus how the end product came out." And yeah, it was a problem, absolutely. But when Breath of the Wild did the exact same thing, and if you go and look at the original release, the announcement of Breath of the Wild, it looked 20 times better than it does now. 20 times. But no one ever mentions it, ever. And the press never talked about it. They never published an article about it. Not once. And it's that sort of bias, like, attention that Nintendo gets, which I've always had a problem with. And the Switch OLED is just such a prime example for this. Like you've just mentioned, the whole fact that let's look at both sides of the argument. Like, no, screw that. Let's just, how about we look at this and be honest about it and say, this is trash. Like, we should expect more from Nintendo in 2021. Yeah. We just should. Like, we were all expecting a Switch Pro because that was the logical step forward. Yeah. Yeah. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, always with Nintendo. But it's nuts that this wasn't treated in the same way in terms of just attention.
Article titles like, "We're happy with the upgrades of the Nintendo OLED." It's like, you're happy? Like, no, it should be like, this is what should have been released a few years ago. Like, that it's outdated. Yeah. And it shouldn't be. Yeah. And like you said, who's going to buy it? What's it for?
I just don't know who's going to buy it. Like, if you're a handheld gamer, you're going to buy a Switch Lite for $150 cheaper. If you're a normal TV gamer, then you're not going to buy it at all because, like, why would I? Why wouldn't I just get the base one because it's the same output on the TV? The only person who this is for is, like you said, is Smash Brothers competitive gamers, which is a very thin slither, like less than, it's got to be like 10% of their market easily.
Yeah, and then OLED fanboys that just love OLED.
Right, sure, yeah, and that's viable, I guess.
Slim.
That's fine, but that's a slim margin. It's I just don't know who it's for, man. It just baffles me. I'm looking at this thing, just like, I don't know who is rubbing their hands together for this thing, apart from the media outlets.
The only good news that can come out of this is if the secondhand market for Switch goes down, and I can buy one on the cheap.
That's fair. Yeah.
If it doesn't go down in price, then I would have waited to buy Breath of the Wild and waited to buy, And so I know that Nintendo want my money now. I know they don't want me to buy it later on. So if they're gonna throw their toys out the pram and try to change, do something with secondhand prices of consoles, and I don't know, they might. That's something I can smell coming down the line. Like, they're not happy with what's happening with the price of the consoles with now the new ones out.
But the problem which I have with that, though, is that Nintendo just never, ever, ever drop prices on anything, ever. Yeah. And this is another thing. Like, I've just looked it up right now. Like, Breath of the Wild on the Switch is still full price. Still. To this day. Crazy. And, like, is that really worth it in 2021? I'm not entirely sure. It's an amazing game. People should play it. But should you really be expecting to buy a game for that much, 5 years after it's come out? Oh, 4 years, sorry. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow, Yeah. And there's like you said, there's other companies like Sony, like Microsoft that are just, the value for money is just astronomically better. Yeah. Like, it's objectively better. Like, this isn't up for debate. It's just objectively better value on the other consoles. It just is. I'm being blunt about it, but it really is. So it's kind of hard to, like,
especially as lots of, again, not uninformed people, they go, I'll get the Nintendo because... One, I know Nintendo. Because,
everyone knows Nintendo, yeah. The Disney of the video games industry, and that helps them.
So they're the most well-known console, I would say. Right. And if you look at everyone, potential market, and that it's literally smaller, and literally the console is cheaper. Yeah. So people think it's the cheaper option to get into video gaming, but it's not. It's really not.
The hardware might be cheaper, but the software is astronomically more expensive.
Not. Yeah. So if you're going to buy one game and one and done, then fair enough, it's probably cheaper. But if it's going to be like a hobby, then PlayStation or Xbox are cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of selling point, and it's genius, to be fair. Like, we have credit where credit is due. Like, the fact that the Switch is the cheapest console that you can buy. Actually, no, it's not. The Series S would be probably, actually.
Is that even cheaper?
Yeah, I think it's $299, and then the Switch base is $350.
Oh my god!
So it's actually cheaper to get an Xbox Series S. Sorry,
Series S. Yeah.
Which is still great because you get Game Pass with that. But yeah, I mean, the sell is to get this handheld console, like you said. It's right. It's small. It's compact. It looks like a toy. It's Nintendo. You know what that is.
But that's a perfect example of my ignorance. I just assumed because it was literally a smaller box that it was the cheapest console.
Yeah, and then you get, like, your kid plays Fortnite, which is free technically until they start asking for the
skins,
upgrade cards and skins and stuff, and it snowballs after a while because, like, I'm bored of Fortnite. Can I buy? I really want to play Breath of the Wild because that's a
well-known great game. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, $60. It's like, what? This game came out, like, okay, fair enough, that's fine. What else do you want? Oh, Mario Odyssey. Oh, that's also full price. What?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about this game that came out 4 years ago?
Wait,
that's also full price.
Wait. Are there any cheaper Mario games? No. Yeah. Okay, fine. What's the cheapest Mario game? No, they're all full price. There is no cheaper Mario.
Actually, there is one Mario game which is constantly on sale, and that is the one done by Ubisoft, which is a third-party game, obviously, and that's constantly on sale for like $20. Isn't that fascinating?
Well done,
I mean,
Ubisoft.
It's just, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
That it just really. I mean, who the hell am I? Because people keep buying this stuff. They're just eating it up. They love it. They defend it. There's rabid fanboys online.
Yeah.
And Nintendo are just like counting the money and like, thank you.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah. It's just like, yeah. It just riles me up. But like, I don't want to hate on Nintendo for the sake of hating on them. I would like everyone to apply the same criticism or lack of criticism to everyone across the board.
Across the board equally.
That would be nice. Yeah.
And that kind of does bring us on to the next point, doesn't it?
Indeed it does.
Where you were saying that Assassin's Creed got dragged through the mud with what was announced and what was said, what would be happening, and then what the game came out with, what it was like. And I don't know if you've been looking at Twitter, but someone's been talking to Bloomberg over there, Vin.
What are the odds? Yeah, I mean, Jason Schreier again, as always. But yeah, do you want to talk about this one?
So Bloomberg report, Jason. He has been having little chats with some people over there at Ubisoft, and it was leaked prior to an announcement that there is a new Assassin's Creed being worked on, and it's called Assassin's Creed Infinity, except that is its code name. People need to understand what a code name is because they don't understand what a code name is. That's the first point.
Are you asking gamers to be understanding, Chris? Stop it.
The whole point of a code name is that people don't know what it's about. Okay? That's why they're called code names. Like in the war, stuff was called like Operation Juno, like Operation whatever, Pluto, and things that got nothing to do with wars.
I'll give you a good example of this. But back in the day, Ubisoft went through a phase of naming all of their games after, like, I think it was farmyard animals or something, or just like normal animals. Absolutely hilarious. But South Park: The Fractured But Whole was definitely camel.
Awesome. I love that.
So, people are like, you're making a game about camels? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
yes,
exactly
I am.
what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a camel simulator.
But yeah.
So then the farm simulator games, they're going, oh shit, what are we going to do? What are we going to come on a game? I don't know.
They'll call it like a codename Assassin or something.
Assassin, yeah.
Right, for a farming simulator. That'd be great. Like, you assassinate the harvest.
We're getting off topic here. So yes, the leak was that it's going to be elements of it. I think the wording was that elements of it were going to be online. I think that I don't know what the actual wording is, but all we know is that some parts of Assassin's Creed codename Infinity is going to have online elements, and it's going to be some sort of branching collaboration of different bits and pieces. And it's the first Assassin's Creed that's being worked on both in Montreal and in is it Quebec?
Quebec, I think it is. Yep.
So 2 studios working together for the first time ever. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I
And
mean, Assassin's Creed has always worked multiple studios, just to be clear. Like,
yeah,
like
but they've
every
gone
game,
back and forth, though, haven't they?
yeah. So like
Yeah.
the team leads are normally done by one studio, and then other studios around them like usually work on them in tangent with them, sort of thing. But
Right.
but they never have like two studios leading on the same project, and that's sort of what we're
Right.
talking about, I think. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, continue. Sorry.
And and Ubisoft did announce earlier in the year that they'll be working on games with online elements.
Mhm.
And again, that got some backlash as well. But it's where the money is, and it's where the people are playing, so it's where the numbers are. So it's like, fair enough. So all they were saying really is, hey, we're going to be making some games where people want to be playing games.
Mhm.
And straight after it got leaked, then Ubisoft did an announcement just to clarify basically that, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about Schreier. He normally puts out these crazy sort of articles, and then invariably, like, there's some information in them articles that is just downright wrong.
It's just
like,
bonkers, yeah.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incorrect sort of thing. So I wouldn't take all of it.
He's been defending some of the idiots on Twitter, I've noticed. So not defending some of the idiots, sorry. He's been defending Ubisoft with idiots getting the wrong end of the stick, which to his credit, which is fine. Whether or not you agree with him, where he should be spoiling things, I think it's not. I don't like it. I mean, I don't know what it's like over there. I don't know how much you can't say much.
If we're being blunt, and I have to be blunt about this, because the reason why Schreier is constantly talking about Ubisoft, like outside of the stuff that he's mainly been reporting on, which is like the allegations of abuse and things like that, which is a viable story. Don't get me wrong. I'm not,
that needs to be.
I'm not downplaying
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's that discussion, but the problem which he is sort of the thing that's happening now, and what he is not the only one that's guilty of this. It's journalists in general that do this, but he will constantly now bring up other little Ubisoft stories that shouldn't be talked about. He shouldn't be leaking our games. He shouldn't be like doing this. Like, just be a decent person. But the reason why he's doing that is so he'd be like, oh, Assassin's Creed Infinity is in production. Oh, by the way, all this other stuff which I've previously written about, here's all the links so you can go and read about it. So it's basically self-advertising for their previous work.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. And it's ridiculously clear that that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
But on the way of doing that, he's basically ruining it for the fans, because like everyone's on the hate train right now, and everyone likes to hate on Ubisoft, even though we had our best year ever last year for sales. So I don't really understand what is happening with that, but it's annoying that is the process that they're going through.
I think that's exactly. I think one explains the other. Then I think when we're in this age now where when we were like early teens, the games that were being released from Ubisoft were some of the most like groundbreaking in our psyche, and they formed people's careers. You know, they were the reason people got into games, so they're a lot at stake. And now we're kind of like in our 30s. Ubisoft has just grown from strength to strength since then.
Right.
And because of that, everyone's got an opinion. So it's got popular. People are buying the games. So people are enjoying the games because it's popular. But people are really vocal about it as well at the same time. But people are only vocal when they don't like something. So all that happens is all the crap rises to the surface. People that are kind of like happy with the game, they're not going to go, hey, I'm really happy with this game, unless they're like super fans. But super fans, 10 a penny, you super fan tweets, they don't make the circuits, they don't get retweeted. Someone really enjoyed this game. That's good. It doesn't make any headlines, but
that's fair.
People that like are hating on something, unfortunately, bad news travels fast, and that's what gets all the Twitter analytics, and that's what gets the retweets, and that's what gets the engagement, because people are then defending it, and that that generates interaction, which generates popularity, and it gets shared.
I 100% get that, and I agree. Like, I think that. I think
so
you're right.
You got all the crap to deal with, and you're probably reading some horrible things, but just know that means you're doing a good job. That means that there are like 10 times as many people that enjoyed the games.
Yeah, but big caveat to all of this, I have to say, like, I'm not working on Assassin's Creed.
But you're not working on Assassin's Creed, no.
I learned about this. I mean, I knew a little bit about this internally, but I learned pretty much everything that you guys know at the same time. because I'm not on that team. I'm just not. Like I'm working on Rainbow Six Extraction. We're not in that loop. I'm ramping down on Rainbow Six Extraction right now, and I'm looking at other projects, but I still don't know that much, honestly. I really don't.
Apparently, be 2024 when it comes out, so we're ages away. So we're
still a long way.
We're still too far to be even talking about it. Like,
and that's if that's even the next Assassin's Creed. Like, no one even knows. Like, I certainly don't. You know, there could be another one in between that for all we know. So it's kind of everyone's freaking out about something that they don't really know anything about yet.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. But there is a lot of backlash about this. Like, people are, I guess, like, because I'm obviously an insider. I can't sort of look at this from an outsider looking in, but I guess I can ask you, like, why do you personally think everyone is so angry about this?
What I've heard, which kind of makes the most sense for me, is that people have been saying for, years and years that they prefer the smaller narrative-driven story elements with the original Assassin's Creed that made it great. But to me, that's like saying to a band, like, like with the Strokes, I love the Strokes, and that their first album to me is their best album. And like the White Stripes, their early stuff is really good. Kings Leon, their first stuff is really good. But I understand now that I'm a bit older and a bit wiser that if I was them, I wouldn't want to make my first album 5 or 6 times in a row. I'd want to just do something different. And with all those examples, all those bands have got more popular and more popular and more popular, and they've grown and grown and grown. So more people are probably bigger fans of those bands than I am, even though because I like their first albums or their early stuff, I have this feeling that I feel like my opinion has more merit, or I should have more of an opinion, or my opinion should be listened to more by the band, which is kind of weird. It's like, no, they're people.
You were just early, sort of thing.
I was just early to it, and it's the same with Assassin's Creed, I think. And it's like people have just got to realize that people are putting out content, and you can like it or you cannot like it. Make your voices heard, but at the end of the day, however loud you shout, it's not going to make a difference. So put your point across for sure, because marketing want to know people's opinions for sure.
Collectively a voice can make a difference, but like individually, I really don't think it makes that much of a difference.
But there's a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it. And to be honest, we're living in this world where that is not clear cut. It's not cut and dry, and we're not sure of the right way to do it, because this whole industry is still in its infancy, and we're still trying to find our feet. But like, if you think about what's happened in the last 10 years with video games, it's kind of crazy. So my kind of take is, there's a lot of angry voices. They have a point, but there's no reason to just keep hating on a company for something that you don't like. Like, you could have put it in a nicer way that wouldn't upset human beings.
Just not buy it. Like, that'd be a good way of doing it.
But
They're not going to do it. No, this like, to a point to that though, is the whole part where people say, like, no one likes this new version of it. And I made a tweet about this, sort of prove a point. But people are constantly saying, no one liked Assassin's Creed Origin, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Like, no one likes this new system. Everyone wants the old Assassin's Creed back. That's what they all want. And this hyperbolic sort of over the top sort of statement, it's kind of incorrect, because the sales unfortunately just don't reflect that whatsoever. Like, I mean, we're talking like double, triple numbers compared to the old Assassin's Creed.
So way more people liked the new Assassin's Creed than the old Assassin's Creed.
Exactly. So who the hell are we to say?
So who's right? Who you can listen to as a company that's trying to make money? Yeah,
and it's kind of interesting that they do that, and you see this stuff online all the time. Same thing with Siege. Like, we see this all the time. Gamers constantly talking about, like, Siege is dead. Nobody likes Siege anymore. It's terrible. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But, Siege kind of had like its best year ever last year in its 5 years that it's been in live services. So is it dead?
So what's your definition of dead?
Right. Is it
growing
dead to you?
Year on year? Is that dead?
And that would be fine if they just said, I think Siege is dead. Like, I'm not enjoying it anymore. Like, that is a valid point to put forward. Like, you are not enjoying it anymore. That, like, you should be able to voice that. Absolutely. That's not a problem. The problem which I have is when you get these hyperbolic statements of people saying, everyone says this. Everyone thinks this. Everyone knows that Siege is dead. It's like, no, like that's like these things aren't.
Yeah,
it's not reality. I'm sorry, it's just really not. So you've got to sort of square with that, and it comes back to the conversation about Assassin's Creed Infinite or Infinity or whatever the hell it's called. But it comes back to that in the respect that people saying they don't like this new direction that it's going in, but that's what they've been buying into for the past 3 games. And it's like, if that's the way that it's heading to be a bit more of a live service, then there's a reason why they're doing that, and they're reacting to what people have actually been buying. And that's unfortunately the situation that we're in. Like, yeah, there's older guys like us, me included. I don't like the live service games. I never have. But if that's the way that gamers are going to be sort of buying this stuff out, then who the hell are we to say any different?
And I, for one, am totally like, it's going to be released in 2024. Who the hell knows what the state of video games are going to be like at that time? Like, this could be amazing. Like, and you know, the people that are hating or everything now, this could be their best game ever. The fact is, you don't know until you've actually given it a go. Like, read some reviews, watch some gameplay, like make an informed decision.
I always try to. I don't always like hold to it, but I always try to like hold criticism on a game too much until a review comes out at least. I hope people will like at least take a step back and be like, all right, we haven't seen it. We don't even know it's like some random leak from Jason Schreier because he wants to push his previous articles again.
Yeah.
And I get that, but at the end of the day, nobody knows. I don't even know, and I work there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's going to be like. So maybe we should just like take a breath and take a step back and actually like try and understand and give them the same sort of slack like what you get Nintendo with the fucking Switch OLED. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's definitely dealt with differently. And this is like 3 years away. It's a long time.
That's if it even comes out in 2024. It might be aiming for 24. It sounds like it's a pretty ambitious game from my understanding.
Yeah.
If the leaks are true. And there's no way in hell this is going to be 24. I'm sorry, but it probably isn't. Like, when they say target, it usually means a year after at least.
Stuff gets pushed back all the time. It's not unusual at all. So the fact that you've even got a date, again, how true is that? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, a bit of a truth bomb here, but like if someone says a game is coming out in 3 years, they have no idea when
it's coming out in 5 or 6 years. They have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely no idea. Like, you really don't know until you're in production year, which is sort of like the last sort of 18 months of a game. Then you sort of have a good understanding in production year. Like, okay, we think it's going to hit at this point because we've sorted out X, Y, and Z problems, and we're pretty confident it's going to hit like in this sort of 6-month window. We know, like, if it's at the beginning or the end, like, we know.
Yeah.
But 3 years out, I'm sorry, but that is
how many Ubisoft games are going to be coming out between now and then. It's like
so many, so many.
Like, why are we even talking? Like, what? How? This shouldn't be news. I mean,
it just shouldn't have been leaked.
It shouldn't have been leaked. And I mean, no one is surprised that Assassin's Creed still exists. There are people that are, I guess, happy that it exists. I'm myself included. I love the franchise as a whole. And long may it continue. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it can come up with. To be honest, Assassin's Creed, like the original trilogy, that's probably old-fashioned now.
Have you played them recently?
No.
Go back and play Assassin's Creed 1. I will give you money if you can survive more than an hour.
Okay.
It's really not that enjoyable. It's hard to play.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're moving around a wardrobe. Like, it's just like the character controller is super heavy, you know, like it's just trying to climb up buildings. Like, oh my God, you can't even parkour. You can't even
climb up a tree. Yeah.
Right. There's no button to hold that you just automatically like climb down the building side or whatever. Like, none of that. It's just, it doesn't exist. Like, you just have to jump off buildings.
You just have to jump off building. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And there's all that sort of stuff, and it's really slow and it's archaic, and it's still enjoyable, like story wise and the art direction. You can appreciate it, absolutely. Yeah. But is it as enjoyable as the new Assassin's Creed?
No.
Hell no. Hell no, not in a million years. So like, people need to take their nostalgia glasses off for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like, my whole sort of viewpoint on this whole like Assassin's Creed Infinity thing, I kind of look at it as like what Bethesda did with Elder Scrolls Online, you know, like that. It could be like that. Like they're still working on Elder Scrolls on the side, like they're working on Skyrim and then the next Elder Scrolls and stuff like that, but they've still got this online thing going in the background, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were going for. You know, like remains to be seen. Like, God knows, but yeah, people should just chill out.
So we've gone from hating on Nintendo to hating on like, are they fans or are they just trolls? I don't know.
Bit of both.
They're both fans and trolls. You could be both. You can be both.
Yeah, I mean, you can be, but they're mostly hypocrites. You know, the people that buy the games and then just constantly complain about the games that they just bought. It's like, how about you just don't buy the game?
Yeah,
that would probably fix the problem, dude. You know, it just blows my mind. It's really crazy to me.
And then who else are we going to complain about next? I mean, we've been doing this for like an hour now, I think.
I know. Let's continue on. We've got some Sony business to get into, but yeah, we should move on anyway.
Our anger isn't finished yet.
It's not finished. No, I haven't actually got any anger for this. I'm actually okay about this one.
You're okay about this? Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. But there was a state of play this week by Sony. They presented some stuff about Deathloop, but they also did some damage control with their indie sort of initiative. They shut off a few indies in their thing. I'm pretty sure that came about because there's been a lot of bad press around Sony and indie developers over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
So there was a bit of that, but in the middle, wedged right in there, was a director's cut, and we've heard the term director's cut in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, from Ghost of Tsushima, they just announced a new director's cut, but Death Stranding is now getting one.
Yeah,
and I guess like this term director's cut is something that is like irking certain people such as yourself, but it's basically a Game of the Year edition mixed in with a PS5 upgrade. Basically, how much they're actually changing remains to be seen. But yeah, that is the deal.
What do we know about what they are actually doing? Is it so upgraded PS5 graphics? Fine. What about that is director's cut? I have no idea because that's completely on the limitations of a platform. But fine. That's like saying
there are some new features though. I think.
Okay, new features. That's fine. Yeah, but like, did the director of the game go, I really want these features in the original release? And then the publisher was like, no, you can't have it. Only if the game is successful can you have these features. And the director was like, okay, that's fine. Deal. And then like, oh, the game's done really well. Guess what? We can give you the director's cut. Oh, what a coincidence, because Ghost of Tsushima's just announced a director's cut. Isn't it interesting we had this conversation that I wanted these features in specifically as me, the director of the video game? And the producers all like, yes, it is. Isn't that a coincidence? This isn't a marketing ploy whatsoever because people are sick of, DLC as a thing. Like, it's too old now. We need to come up with something new.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, all of the new stuff that they put in is, you're right, it's arguably not director's cut. They're not rearranging stuff in the way that the director originally had as his vision. They're just adding new features basically. So it's DLC. It's basically a Game of the Year edition. It's just like the marketing term that they've sort of gone with.
Yeah.
There are some stuff which will definitely change, like the stuff that's in the Death Stranding one especially. Like the stuff that was in Ghost of Tsushima probably really isn't going to change the base game that much at all. Actually, I don't think there was anything that we saw that was going to be anything that was going to affect the core gameplay of the game. But Death Stranding has a lot of potential to actually alter like the way that you play the game quite a bit. So I cut Death Stranding a little bit more slack than I do for Ghost of Tsushima. But remains to be seen. But there is a lot of new stuff. Like there's extended content stuff which they put in, which is like new gameplay features, like the way that you can move around the actual environments. I should actually ask this: have you actually played Death Stranding?
I have not though, but I've watched a lot of reviews and I've watched some gameplay of it, so I've got an idea of what you do. Again, I would have played it. I might play it, but it's one of those ones where again, it's only in the world where I've got 1 million hours that I would be playing this. It's just got to pick and choose, and again, it just didn't make the cut really at the time. But it was only PlayStation, wasn't it? So.
It's a PlayStation only. I think it came out on PC afterwards. So it was a year later, it came out on PC.
I've only had a PlayStation for like a year. So cut me some slack, Vin. Gosh.
God.
I'm an indie dev as well. Like, you got to give up so much to plow money, like time. Well, yeah, I do as well. Yeah, put it in between my full-time job. So, geez, cut me some slack, Vin. Gosh.
Yeah. So, there's... same as Ghost of Tsushima, though, they have a load of PS5 stuff, which is the haptic feedback, obviously, new triggers. They've got 4K
Is it that you can feel the baby kick in the tube?
That's exactly what it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it'll be weird and it'll be interesting, but it will still be very weird. But there's HDR is coming in as well. There's so a lot of nice upgrades. There's a lot of additional features which they're adding, which is like the sort of gadgets which you get to sort of help you deliver the packages in the game. I'm not even going to try and explain what you do in the game.
You're a postman. I get it. You're
basically
postman.
A postman.
Yeah.
You're a postman in Iceland. That's it.
Right.
That's
okay.
the best way to describe the game. Sounds boring as hell. It's actually a lot more enjoyable than you might think. But like the means that you actually are like getting the packages from A to B is they're sort of expanding on that by adding new gadgets and new ways of actually doing it. Like there's like a package cannon that you can fire and stuff like ridiculous stuff. Yeah, there's a load of stuff. And
there's a community element as well where you like build a road all together and like they've built a massive highway all together and there's a community.
So you can come across these obstacles that are sort of saying, oh, you can put money or like whatever currency you've got into this, and then as a community you can sort of build up, because you'd never probably have enough to build certain things by yourself. But as a community, you're able to like, oh, okay, like we can build a bridge here, so let's just all put money in, and then it will slowly become a bridge. And like, okay, this helps everyone. So it's a really interesting like dynamic to the game in that respect.
I thought it was like if everyone puts money in, then one person gets to choose where this brick goes.
No, nothing like that. But it is like whoever set it up first, sort of thing. Like they dictate where the bridge is like being built, obviously.
Right.
Like they figure it out. Okay, it needs to go over this water, and then if anyone else is running along, like, oh man, I wish there was a bridge here. Oh hey, look, there's a block there ready for a bridge. Like, oh, like it needs money going into it. Yeah, because I might come back here later, put it in, and then go over the water.
Okay.
And like it's just
you go back later, and there's a bit more of a bridge there, and
exactly.
Or does it just get built all in one go?
No, it gets built in sections. I think it was. Yeah. So
Okay.
you might come across a bridge that's only like half built, and you're like, oh god damn it, like I wish that was built, sort of thing. But then there's other things, like you see a bridge in the middle of nowhere, like crossing, like there's like a river that splits off into three, and it's like one bridge across it. And like, why did you build that? Why didn't you just go further downstream and build it over one? So you ignore it, and then you don't put money into it. So it's sort of an organic thing anyway. But
okay,
it does work. It's an interesting system for sure. Like it's a game that I thought I wouldn't enjoy. Like I thought it was going to be boring as hell, but I was wrong. Like I actually had a lot of fun with the game. But yeah, well worth the time. But I mean, the good thing is same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. This is a paid upgrade as well, so you can. I think it's $10 to upgrade from the PS4 version to the Director's Cut.
That's better than Ghost of Tsushima, isn't it?
Yep,
that's like $30. Decent.
So I'm guessing that's because Death Stranding came out 2
Further,
years ago.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So it came out in 2019, I think it was. I want to say 2019. I'm pretty sure it was 2019. God, I hope it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years.
Nintendo are like, it's not even full price. What the hell, man? It was only come out 2 years ago. Jeez.
Hey, man. For Director's Cut, you could pay double for that.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
I bet they are rubbing their hands together going, Metroid Prime Director's Cut, where slightly different napkin on the side or something.
Yeah. It does beg the question, like, what other games are going to get a Director's Cut?
And how soon before people abuse the word for...
Director's Cut.
Yeah. It's a Director's Cut. Wait, how is this not just regular DLC? It's Director's Cut.
Yeah.
Really? No, it looks like DLC to me. No, it's Director's Cut.
It's the new Game of the Year edition. I mean, like, I guess we sort of... I mean, because I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I don't like the term that much because it implies that a director is like the sole sort of beneficiary, like the person who is guiding this project, which is not completely true in the video games industry. Is in a movie, absolutely, but not in the games industry. Like, so many people affect the way a game is. So a director's cut like implies that only one person is really steering the ship, which is not true whatsoever. But we just have to get used to this. Like new Game of the Year edition terminology, I guess. So
there's nothing wrong with Game of the Year edition because it's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, if the game didn't win Game of the Year,
if it didn't win Game of the Year, then it's not accurate. True. Just call it Deluxe Edition. Gosh, because that means like
Developers Edition. I would have been happy.
Or Developers Edition or Deluxe Edition. There's so many more things that are more like
inclusive to the whole team.
Inclusive to the whole team, but also just not wrong because the director probably did not have that vision and other people had what you got released as a vision.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. Just wrong. Don't like it.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat with you. But
are you going to get the Death Stranding one?
I might do, actually. I think that's a good candidate, because the way that the game, like what hooks you in that game is like you'll be walking through Iceland, like trying to deliver your one box, and you're like, oh god, this is boring. Then you deliver your box, and it's like, okay, now here's some shoes that'll make you run like a little bit faster. You're like, oh cool, sweet, I can get there a lot faster. So then you're running across the landscape, feeling proud of yourself.
So he gets like Sonic.
Like I can take 2 boxes now. And then it's like, okay, and then you get there, and then it's like, oh, here's an exoskeleton, so you can carry even more. And it's like, all right, cool. And then like, all right, this feels good. And it just like hooks you in because you're constantly upgrading the character, and they're meaningful upgrades as well. It's not like they're incrementally like annoying you with it either. It's actually a good sort of pace where they give you these new things out.
That's like what they did with Postman Pat. Like he had his van. And then all of a sudden they've been doing all these ones where he gets like a boat and he gets like a freaking jet to like deliver someone's post.
Are you watching these by yourself, or is your kid present? Like, don't answer that.
Yeah, a late night. You know, this is what I do on a Sunday night after the podcast. Get another glass of wine.
Right. Put your feet up.
Put my feet up. Get some nice massage oils.
Light a candle.
Light a candle. Put on Postman Pat. And just ridicule it.
It's the best way to do it, man.
And then put it on Twitter and just complain. Yeah. That's how I like to relax.
But yeah, Death Stranding is really good.
But yeah, coming back to Death Stranding is good.
No, but like by the end of the game, you've got like this, you got like a floating sort of little robot that follows you along, and you can pack that thing up, and you've got your thing, and you're like trying to balance it out, and you're like, okay, I've got to go to this mountain. And when you do like get over the mountain, you get to the other side. You feel
that achievement. Yeah.
It's a good sense of achievement. Like it's a really good sort of feedback loop. But on paper, like it's actually impossible to sell this game. Like when you're trying to explain it to people without that. And it was always fascinating to me that they didn't mention that sort of gameplay loop that much in the reviews or anything. They said the reason why the game is fun is because of this. Like people were really struggling with trying to explain like why the
what
game
makes
is fun.
it. It's one of those ones where I think it is like you have to play it to experience it. Because from everything I've seen, I'm like, I don't understand why it's. I understand why people are saying they enjoy it, and I understand that they go, I like it because of this, that, and the other. But you look at it and just like, that just looks bonkers.
Right. And it is. It really is. Yeah. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Like there's nothing realistic about it really. But it's, if you go in with the right expectation, like, okay, this is going to be like a walking simulator is the best way to sort of describe it. It's relaxing. Like you put some music on, you're just walking along, and you sort of zone out and you just enjoy it. Like it's such a hard game to sort of talk about, but yeah, you should try it out.
I think that's probably, is that a good game for indie developers though? Because every time I play a game, I feel guilty that I'm not making my own game. If I'm not taking bits and pieces from other people's games, I feel like I'm cheating myself.
You're not researching anymore.
I feel like I'm cheating on myself, which is weird because I'm trying to relax here by playing a game. But yeah.
No, it's a good experience though. But you know, is there any other games that you think like that are in Sony's sort of portfolio that should get this sort of Game of the Year, Director's Cut, Dev Edition cut sort of thing? Like, is there anything that you played recently or something that you would buy if it came out like with an extended cut?
Well, this is the weird thing because like if you're asking what I always want is a sequel. I want a whole standalone game. I want to wait 5 years. Because I would so trade off that than like something that came out earlier that's just a bit of an expansion or an add-on. But from the Sony games that I've played, well, I probably will be playing, is it A Thief's End? The expansion from...
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy?
Yeah.
So I probably will be playing that, and I wanted that after playing 4. That was a great wrap-up. I thought the ending was great. The characters had great character arcs all around. I thought I was really good. Really enjoyed the character work on that game. But if there was like, oh, here's some new interesting bits and pieces here and there that's a few hours long, I'm like, yeah, I'll play that, sure. We've got Horizon Forbidden West, we're already getting that. That's like one of my favorite games. So already getting that sequel. So I can't really think. I mean,
I know the two that they're gonna do.
Metal Gear Solid reboot, I guess. Does that fall under that? No, it doesn't really.
Not yet, anyway. I think Blue Point are working on a Metal Gear Solid remake, though.
Yeah.
that would be the next in line for them guys. The two director's cuts, which we absolutely will get, and I would put money on this. First one is obvious, like the most obvious one is The Last of Us Part 2. We're going to get a director's cut of that, without a doubt, and that will be their big. I know, neither do I. I don't care. But what will come with that is probably the multiplayer add-on.
Actually, saying that, if Ellie's not, I know I love Ellie, but if Ellie isn't in it,
director's cut, remove Abby.
Yeah,
Done.
if they do either or, if they remove one of the characters, or they just isolate, if they don't do Ellie's revenge mission, they just do something else. I'm on board. I think probably, which sounds really bad, and I'll probably be getting a lot of comments like it was really great. It's like. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No. I mean, I genuinely think the Last of Us sort of fan base is evenly split on this whole thing anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, a director's cut anyway. Like it'll be. I'm really curious to see what the director's cut sales are going to be like.
Actually,
I'm really curious.
I think if there was a director's cut, it could be really interesting because it could be super different. Because Neil Druckmann had lots more hats on this time around, a lot more responsibility. So he wasn't really in charge of too much of the writing, as far as I'm aware. Like he was involved in the writing, yeah, but I don't think everything came down to him in terms of everything, the story.
I mean, the counterpoint to that though is that now he's no longer in development; he runs the studio.
Yeah.
So there's that. So
that could have been interesting, like his version of of The Last of Us Part 2 could have been different. Well, if we want to go deep dive, like some characters and some of the early concepts of where the story went sounds more interesting to me. Like it was supposed to be Abby infiltrated the camp and like got to know people and she was like pretending to not know who Joel was, and that sounds way more interesting to me.
Yeah, that
sort of dynamic.
I really need to replay that game because I think it'll be different the second playthrough.
I think it will too, yeah. I never really replay games though. I just don't have enough time.
No. I mean, that sort of game, like that game really got to me to the point I was like, I really never want to touch this thing again. But yeah. I mean, I'd like to replay just the gameplay because I enjoyed like the art direction, the world design, and like how you like the combat scenarios and stuff. Like they're really fun games like to actually play. The story just like really you get me wound up.
But maybe now that you know what's coming, maybe you'll like it better.
Maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit more.
If you run after Tommy as soon as you're able to, you can catch up to him and kill him.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But I don't think it's not supposed to happen, but he still acts like an enemy and you can like grab hold of him. I've seen a little clip of that. Someone's done that.
Interesting. But I mean, cool. That's the thing. Like, I'm just joking about like, I wonder what the sales are going to be like on a director's cut because so many people are torn on the game.
That'd be
I might be one of those people. Yeah, I might be one of those people that actually pick it up just so I can,
I would.
It depends what else.
If that came out, I'd probably like. I watch a lot because I don't have enough time to play games or enough money to buy games. I do a lot of watching videos these days and a lot of looking at reviews. And I'll wait until people I like have done a review of the game, and sometimes that would be like years. And I will go, I'm interested in this game. Let's see what these opinions are. I think I would probably spend the most amount of time I've ever spent consuming media around that. If they did a director's cut of The Last of Us 2, like that would consume me. I would want to know everyone's opinions because I bought it. I got like the PlayStation PS4 Pro with like the special edition with The Last of Us 2.
That's a painful reminder. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what else they add to it. I mean, other than the multiplayer, obviously, but I think that is the prime one to get a director's cut.
This is the thing. Like me knowing me, if I watched all of the info on when The Last of Us 2 came out and I hadn't played it and I hadn't bought it, I still would have bought it because I would have had to have seen what all the fuss was about. I would have had to have seen what was so explosive.
The Last of Us Part 2 is such a fascinating case in that it doesn't matter what anyone said about it, good or bad.
Yeah.
All the people that played The Last of Us Part 1 enjoyed it as much as they did. They would have still bought the second game. They had to buy the second one.
No one played The Last of Us 2 going, meh. No one
That's
had an average opinion. It was
I
very
agree with that.
polarizing.
Yeah, it was either I absolutely despise that, I hated everything that they
Yeah.
did with it, or it was the greatest game ever made. Like there was no weird
There was no in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
So director's cut would be very interesting. I probably would have to buy it. Just to see what the fuss was about. Which kind of goes against your if you don't like it, don't buy it then.
Well, it depends what else.
But it's the most unique video game. I mean,
I think that's why everyone is so fascinated by The Last of Us Part 2, even if they didn't enjoy it. Like people like us, we really hate the story.
Yeah.
And we're still fascinated by people's reactions about it, the discussion around it.
Even now,
it's a pivotal moment in video games where like the game was taken so seriously to the point that it's like I hate that whole like expression that it transcends video games or whatever, because it doesn't. It's still a video game, which is good. Like that's what it should be. But it's sort of like it's a game that should be taken more seriously. So the discussion around it is more interesting in that respect, because we should be doing this more in the future with more different games. So
it was changing the landscape of video games. It was changing what video games could be. It was a cultural
absolutely
moment in time for sure. It was all those things. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a video game, and at no point should anyone be threatened or harassed or even made to feel upset with what they were doing with the game.
Yeah, I mean the only other game I can think of, because I think The Last of Us Part 2 Director's Cut is going to be their main push at whenever they do their like Sony State of Play for E3, which remains to be seen if they're actually even ever going to do it, because they might just skip it altogether. I think the only other one that could get announced is Bloodborne. I think a Bloodborne Director's Cut is in the works. It's got to be, because way too many people are asking for that thing.
Yeah,
and
I want to play that.
It's probably the best Souls game by far. Like, and that's the one that sort of is a good gateway for people that don't play Souls games. Like they normally go into Bloodborne first. But I'd be interested to see if they did a Director's Cut, and if they did, what they would add other than 60 FPS at 4K. Like if they could add anything else, then I'd be really curious to see it.
Yeah, I want to see what my TV can do. Like I don't think I've seen as much as I want to.
You haven't fed it enough food yet.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this next gen. Like when I get the new consoles and stuff and start seeing what it can do. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. But I need the money, and my money's all tied up at the minute. I can't spend anything lavish, and it's really killing me.
That's literally what you get for buying a house.
I know. Still haven't heard. I still need to. Oh man, freaking housing market in the UK right now. Santander.
Everywhere.
Jeez.
Everywhere. It's the whole. It's almost like we just went through a global pandemic or something. It's insane.
And then the chancellor was like, "Hey, let's give everyone a holiday for their stamp duty, and there won't be any repercussions. Everything will be smooth sailing."
How's that going, England? Yeah. Speaking of England, we got 1 hour until the
an hour
European final.
Till the European final. Jeez.
I'm a bit nervous. I think they're going to lose, if I'm honest. But
do you?
Yeah, I do think they're going to lose, but I'm still giving credit where credit is due. Southgate is absolutely smashing it. He's getting us closer and closer. I think next World Cup, I think it might be our time. I think it might be.
Do you reckon? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've just been getting better and better. Like last World Cup, we got like further than we've gotten in a long time. This European Championship, we've gotten to the final for the first time in like 50 years. I think we're only going up, man.
I think we can do it, and I think it's all about state of mind. I think English people, especially, they have this.
No, I think the Queen has stuffed it. Basically, she
sent
them a letter.
I remember. Oh,
yeah, she sent them a letter saying, "Oh, we're really proud of you. Like, don't let us down," and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, why did you do? Like, they're terrified. Don't do that. And then fucking Boris Johnson joined in and sent them a letter as well. It's like, are you trying to make these boys nervous? Just leave them alone. Like they're fine. Like leave them in their bubble where they think they're just playing a normal Sunday game.
Yeah.
You know? But I think
that might have done it. And no other country can have that sort of pressure from the Queen.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I think it's just the pressure of it is just.
The Queen's watching. The Queen wants me to win. Now I have to win. If I don't win, is the Queen going to be upset? Can you imagine upsetting the Queen? Oh my God, it doesn't even bear thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, you'd walk onto that pitch and you'd probably forget what a football is. You know. What I mean? Like but at the same time, I am going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it.
When they sing the national anthem in this final, my God, there's going to be some It's going
And
to
it's
be
in England as well. It's at
yeah.
Wembley as well.
That's
so
going to
it's
be.
kind of
I think I'll probably hear it from here, which is like
yeah,
a few hundred miles away. I think. I'll
but
probably
yeah,
hear it.
credit where credit is due. Southgate is he's done more for the team than anyone's done in the last 50 years. So
Everyone watching this, pretty much everyone watching this is going to watch it after the fact, and so they'll either be going, "Ah, bless them," or
Right.
they'll be going, "Football, I'm turning off now," or they'll be going, "Hey, they did win, so yes."
it's technically still a game. We're talking about games.
That's true. Yeah, one's digital and one's analog.
Analog video games. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, regardless of how England does, like I think credits Southgate. Like he's done a great job.
He's done a great job, and there's no sign of that changing anytime soon. So yeah, long may it continue for sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk if David Beckham should run the England team at one point, and I'm so glad that he didn't get it now because Southgate's absolutely smashing it. So
yeah,
well played.
Well, because Beckham's only ever won and then went off into the sunset.
Exactly.
But
Ran off to
Southgate
America.
had that loss. Was it 96?
Yeah.
And so.
98. Sorry.
98. So he's the perfect person to coach a team that are great at losing.
Yeah, I mean Beckham was in the '98 World Cup as well.
Yeah, he
I
was.
think,
yeah.
Like he was the one that got a red card because he kicked one.
Because he
German
kicked a
players.
guy.
God,
yeah, so that's not the kind of guy. Yeah, that's not the kind of guy.
Yeah, who do you want, Southgate or Beckham?
Yeah,
based on that.
The guy that kicks someone because he fell over at the most important time of his career, potentially.
Yeah, remains to be seen. But yeah, we should wrap this thing up. Anyway.
Yeah, we should wrap up. We've been going on a long time.
It did, yeah.
It's a long one.
We're
so angry.
Lots of complaints.
Lots of complaining, lots of anger. So apologies. And there'll be people out there going, I'm totally wanting to be angry at AC. I'm totally loving the OLED Nintendo.
Yeah, and I love director's cuts.
I love director's cuts. What are these guys on? So yeah, if you are that person, please let us know because I want to know how you work, how your brain works.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, it's still video games. Stuff will still be video games. Still be fun.
Yeah.
It's just the things around the video games right now are a bit irksome, but yeah, it's all good. But yeah, Chris, where can people find you?
Acrylic Pixel on Twitter. I post most of my indie game stuff progress on there. I have got a YouTube channel as well, Acrylic Pixel, which I'm hopefully to be getting on more with. And what about you, Vin? Where can we find your art? And you've done your character control. Are you still working on that?
Yeah, I'm still working on a little bit. I actually opened it up for the first time in a while yesterday between a couple of paintings because I'm ramping down on a project right now. So I'm like a cat chasing cars. Like I don't really know what to go for yet. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, if you want to follow me, I am on Twitter. I am at Hillfort Games, if I can get my words out. Hillfort Games. I'm also at Vin Hill Art on ArtStation, and I post up a lot of concept art. I've actually got a couple of pieces coming up over the next couple of days going onto there. So if you're into that sort of stuff, then give me a follow. And then
stay tuned.
Yep. Stay tuned indeed. But yeah, until next time.
We'll see you next week where we've got something else to complain about.
Indeed. But yeah, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we do get new episodes up. You can also find us on all of your favorite podcast services like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we're on Anchor basically, so it's everywhere. It's wherever. Yeah. We're the herpes of the internet. No one wants us there, but we're everywhere. But it's all good. Until next time. Bye-bye. Bye.